In the event that solving equations do not make sense to you, at this time, I want to show you via video how to solve equations one more time. Let's start with something easy. So here I have a simple two-step equation. The first thing I will do to make my work neat, I will first split this into two sides. So the first thing I will do is deal with my constant, which is my number -6 here, or -6. Opposite to that will be adding 6. I will get rid of this. However, what I do on one side, I did on left side, I must do it on the right side. So I will add 6 on the right side as well, in which that will result me into just the 3x that equals to 9 plus 6. 9 plus 6 is same as 15. So that is 15 here. So 3x's equal to 15, and therefore, in order for me to find out just one x, I'll divide by 3. I have 3x's, that's why I'm dividing it by 3. So I am undoing 3 times x, I divide by 3, that gets me to x equals to, this is same as 15 divided by 3. Do know fractions mean division. Fractions, top number divided by the bottom number. So that will be 5. So 1x is 5. All right, let's try the next question together. If you need to pause the video at any time to try it on your own, please do so. However, here we have a simple question of 3x plus 5 equals to 17. Again, you will split it in two groups. All right. Here is my variable here, x. I'm trying to solve for 3x's plus 5 equals to 17. Before I deal with the x, I will deal with my constant. I subtract 5. Therefore, I no longer have this because I undid the adding part by subtracting. Now, I will be left with just the 3x's. That becomes 17 plus -5, or same thing as 17 minus 5. That will be same as 12. Okay, so now 3x's equals to 12, and therefore, I will divide by the number of x's again. 12 divided by 3 means that x will now equal to 4. That was simple. However, what about if the question has fraction like this right here? This says 1/4 x plus 3 equals to 8. Do know that this is just saying 1/4 times x. Do not get confused. This is just saying 1/4 of x. You add the 3 to become 8. So what I will do first, again, this, I do want you to get into a habit of splitting into half. The first thing I will do, I will deal with the number first, the number value that's being added to the portion of x. So I will subtract the 3 just to deal with the unknown parts. So that gets me, all right, so I undid the adding by subtracting. I did the same thing, -3 on the same side. And therefore now, just the 1/4 x will equal to 5. So yes, I can divide by 1/4. I can divide by 1/4. However, dividing by a fraction means you need to multiply by the reciprocal. And therefore, what I will do to undo the 1/4 here, I am dividing by 1/4, which is same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal of 1/4, which is 4/1. Do know 4/1 is just 4. So I multiplied by 4/1 on one side so that I am just dealing with, on the right side, I just have x. Sorry, on the left side now, I'm just talking about x. But now, since I multiplied by 4/1, which is the same thing as just the 4, I multiply by the same value here, which is 4 over 1, which is same thing as 4. 5 times 4, 5 multiplied to 4 is 20. So I found out that a quarter of 20 is just 5. Just 1/4 of 20 is 5. 5 plus 3 is equal to 8. I confirm my answer. Let's try one more fraction. We dealt with this in class. However, 3 over 5. It's not a simple fraction. However, it's okay. Yes, I do see a lot of you changing this to 0.6. Yes, you can do that. However, I want you to be comfortable of undoing the fraction by multiplying the reciprocal. All right, so let's practice that one more time. I am splitting this into half. And now what I will be doing is I will subtract the 8. At this point, this part should be simple, which gets you to just the 3/5 of x, that equals to 9. 17 minus 8, or positive 17 plus negative 8. Now, at this time, since I want to divide by 3/5, or which is really the same as multiplying by the reciprocal to get rid of this, I multiply by the reciprocal, and therefore on the left side, I just have the x. On the right side, I will multiply 9 times the same value I multiplied here. The reciprocal that I multiplied was 5 over 3. I'll multiply the same 5 over 3. Okay, now I need to multiply 9 times 5 over 3. 9 times 5 over 3 is same thing as 9 over 1 times 5 over 3. This is really just the same as 9 times 5, top times the top, which is 45, bottom times the bottom, which is 3. Or, we did practice. Okay, let me show that afterwards. So 45 over 3 is same as 45 divided by 3, which is 15. Or please do know that 9 over 1 times 5 over 3 could have been simply done. Please do know that you can, with the diagonal, if you have the same number that you can divide it by, 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I canceled it to have that. That is just simply 3 times 5, which is 15. 1 times 1. Denominator is 1. That's just now 15. Do know it's the same thing. So now, since I multiplied these two things on the side, I showed you on the side, this is 15. All right. At this time, I want to talk about a different set of equations with equations with parentheses. Equation with parentheses. In terms of equations with parentheses, so now this is telling me I have two groups of each group having x minus 3. That really just means I can divide by the number of group, divide by the number of group. Then I will be left with just the one group here, which is x minus 3. That equals to 14 divided by 2, which is 7. Please do know, when equations have parentheses, it's not the same procedure. It's not the same as you just adding 3 here. You don't do that first. You cannot make that as your first step. All right, now you add the 3, because now on the right side, you're speaking of what one group would be. Now you have the 7. Now you can add the 3. Now add the 3 to say that x will now equal to, just the x will equal to 7 plus 3, which is 10. Okay, so if you did the distributive property first, it seems like a lot of you are making this into 2x plus 6. Make sure this is the same as 2 times -3, which becomes -6, or subtracting 6 at this time, subtracting 6, -6, to look at it as a term. So that equals to 14. From here now, you can do it like the previous types of equation, but because there's no parentheses. Yes, now you can do this by adding 6, adding 6. Okay, in order for me to get rid of this, to just talk about the two unknowns, which is 2x's, that will be 2x, which equals to 14 plus 6, which is 20. Split that into 2, because I have 2x's. To talk about 2x is 20. Like 2 apples are $20, but what about 1 apple? 1x? Don't think about apples. I'm not talking about apples. I'm just making an example. So 2x's are 20. I divide it by 2. 1x is 10. To know that it's the same solution as the one that we had with the different method. Let's talk about equations with parentheses with fractions. When you're working with equations with parentheses, this is saying 1/6. 1/6 of the group is 11. If only 1/6 is 11, let's find out what the whole group would be. That's really just the same thing as if you want to talk about one group, you multiply by 6, or you multiply by the reciprocal. Consider this as 1/6. If you multiply by 6/1, now you're talking about one group. That gets canceled. Whatever you multiply on the left side, which was 6, you have to multiply on the right side as well. Since I multiply by 6, I multiply by 6 on the right side as well. To find that that is same as one group, which is x plus 6, that will equal to 11 times 6. Oops, that's not 16, that's 6. That will be 66. Something plus 6 is 66, meaning I will subtract the 6, subtract the 6. To say bye to that, that will be x equals to 60. Lastly, how would I do this one right here? 5/7 or 5/7 groups of x minus 9 equals 25. Let's talk about one whole group. A full group, by multiplying this by its reciprocal, so that we get rid of this. Since you multiplied by the 7/5, which was the reciprocal of 5/7, you flip the 5/7 to get 7/5. What I multiply on the left side, on one side, I have to do it to the other side, which is 7/5. Okay, which means I am now dealing with just the one group, x minus 9. That equals to 25 times 7/5, which is really the same thing as saying 25 times 7. I have 7 quarters. That's $1.75 or 175. 1 times 5 is 5. 175 divided by 5 is, you get 35. Do you know this one? You could have did it simpler by 25, and 5 is divisible by the same number. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. I canceled it by simplifying ahead of the times. 5 times 7, 35. That could have been easier. Now what I will do is something minus 9 equals to 35. So I will add the 9. To undo the subtracting part, I will add 9. What I do on one side, I must do it to the other side of the equal sign. Oh, I stopped drawing this, huh? I apologize. So now x will equal to 35 plus 9 will be 44. Thank you for watching.